What to do when DCF orders you to file a restraining order in Massachusetts. What to do when DCF orders you to file for a restraining order in Massachusetts is go do it. I recently had a client come in to me, sat down and says, Kevin, I'm in a pickle. I said, what do you mean? And she says, well, DCF told me today that if I don't go down and take out a restraining order against my significant other, they're going to pull my children. And I said, well, how is that a decision or a choice? You got no choice. And she says, exactly. And I said, are you afraid or in fear or imminent fear of this man? She says, absolutely not. She says, now what do I do? I don't want to perjure myself. I don't want to lie. But I don't want DCF taking my children. And what have they told you? She says, DCF told me we're going to do a legal consult, and the worker told me they're going to take my kids if I don't go down and get a restraining order today. I said, what choice do you have? She says, I feel like I don't have any. I said, you're exactly right. They'll put a gun to your head. But again, are you in fear and imminent fear of harm of your significant other? And she said, absolutely not. He's never hit me, never put his hands on me. We've had disagreements. But this time we're yelling, screaming, and hollering, and blah, blah, blah. It just didn't happen. That's not what went on. I said, so you go down and take a restraining order then. She said, but how can I? I said, simple, you go down, talk to the judge. She said, but it didn't happen. I'm not afraid of him. I said, I understand. Well, what do you mean? I explained to her. I said, you're going to go down, fill out the paperwork, and write in there that I'm not afraid of my significant other. And then when the judge speaks to you, tell the judge what happened, exactly what you just told me. She says, what do you mean? I said, the judge's going to ask you under oath, and you tell the truth. You tell the judge, I am not in fear of my significant other. And the judge is going to say, well, what are you doing here? And you tell the judge, the Department of Children and Families, given the name of the social worker and the office, ordered me that if I didn't come down and file for a restraining order, that they were going to pull my children. And then what you do is you tell the judge, I'm not afraid of this significant other. He's never hurt me, never put his hands on me, but DCF has ordered me to come down here, Judge. So I don't want my children taken. I didn't have a choice. I'm filing for a restraining order because of DCF. Now in this particular situation, that judge called up DCF and the area director, and also there was rumblings in the commissioner's office. DCF cannot threaten you to file a restraining order if you're not in fear and imminent fear of harm. Now DCF has done this countless times. So how do you overcome that? What's the moral of today's story? You go in and file for the restraining. You do as DCF does, they don't pull your kids. And you, when you tell the truth, the whole truth, none about the truth, so help you God under oath. And you tell the judge, the DCF social worker or supervisor or the area director, whoever it is that's ordered you or threatened you with legal action, taking your children if you don't do a restraining order. But that's against the law. DCF is ordering you to perjure yourself. Because if you're not in imminent fear of your significant other, then you can't go into court, raise your right hand to tell the truth, the whole truth, none but the truth, so help you God, and lie. That's called perjury. And that's what DCF is making these families do, is perjure themselves. But if you're a parent, you're caught between a rock and a hard place. If you don't go file the restraining order, they're going to pull your kids. So go in and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about what DCF's doing to you. And then if DCF tries to pull your kids, you call everyone and everyone under the sun. And you point out how they try to get you to perjure yourself. Do not perjure yourself. Always tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. And if DCF comes after you with threats of legal action, remove your children, you go file the restraining order, tell the clerk, the judge, everybody, I tried to go get a restraining order. They wouldn't give it to me. Why? They declined my restraining order. Then DCF can do nothing. You did what you were told to do. And then they're holding the bag. And in more than one case, I've seen the judges pull DCF in and really give them hell about them telling a family, a mom or a dad, to perjure themselves. That's wrong. It's a violation of the law, violation of due process rights, and it's basically DCF being a bully. Let's call it as you see it. That's wrong what they're doing. And they're doing it to our families in this Commonwealth. And yet who's DCF? It's the government. And when you lose trust in the government, we've lost everything. And that's a practice that many social workers do not do. But the bad social workers do that. They threaten clients.